Welcome to the Export Control EC for Short module. Export Control will be available for use in early October. The new EC system will offer departments a more streamlined approach for completing business processes. This video introduces the Export Control module and provides an overview demonstration of the platform. We will begin by showing users how to log into the system using their UT single sign-on credentials. After I selected the Export Control login link, I was directed to the UT single sign-on window. I entered my credentials and successfully accessed the module. The first page you land on is the dashboard, so we will start with an overview of the dashboard and the EC module. On the dashboard, users will have the My Inbox tab and the My Reviews tab. The My Inbox tab will contain all items that require some action by the logged-in user. The My Reviews tab will contain a subset of My Inbox items specifically focused on review assignments, whereas the My Inbox might have other items specific to the individual person not necessarily assigned for their review. On the left, we have the recently viewed items, which can save any recently viewed projects, and you can pin items as well for future reference. If we click on the Export Control tab, I'll walk through what is located on each of these sub-tabs in the sub-navigator. First, the Help Center tab will contain additional resources for users such as job aids, policy documents, and training videos. The next tab, the Submissions tab, is specific to the end user's export control submissions. EC has filtering capabilities throughout, which is super handy. The last tab in the sub-navigator is the Reports tab. General users have limited reporting capability, but users with elevated roles will have more robust reporting capabilities. The Export Control workspace is a view that contains summary links, status images, and tabs of information regarding a submission. Use the tabs available in the workspace to view additional information related to an export control request. Use the ellipses to view hidden options such as related submissions, training tabs, and reviewer notes. Use the Related Submissions tab to view submissions affiliated with specific export control requests, including related export control submissions, as well as related grants and award submissions. Use the Training tab to view training details for the responsible party. The responsible party is the person who is responsible for the export control request. Use the History tab to view export control request activity details. Here is a visual example of system roles in export control. Registered users are any person with a user account in the system, and these are all of the activities that they can perform in export control. Office of Export Control's reviewer are central office users responsible for review of export control submission, and this is a list of all of the activities that they can perform in export control. Here we have a listing of assigned responsibilities in export control. We've already talked about responsible parties, so I won't go into detail there, but guests are contacts assigned to view the export control submission. Ancillary reviewers are contacts assigned to complete an ancillary review of the export control submission, and these are a list of all of the activities that they can perform. Registered export control users can initiate and submit 7 different request types. This includes visitor, travel, shipment, visa, purchasing, sponsored research, and payment processing requests. To create an export control request from your dashboard landing page, you will need to select Create, select Export Control, and then select Create Export Control. The information provided in the Basic Information section is applicable regardless of the request type. You must answer all required questions to move to the next section. Question 1, default your name as employee responsible for the request. Question 2, type of request. Users have access to 7 request types. I have selected visitor request for demonstration purposes. For all request types, select Continue to navigate to the next section of the Smart Form. This is the visitor information section. SmartForm has the ability to show additional pages or questions based on how users answer certain questions. So in this section, visitors would select the add icon to enter in the start and end date of the visit, and they can either enter the dates in manually or use the calendar capability within Export Control. Please note, if your visit dates are in the past, then question 2 will be required. Use the drop-down menu to select hosting department or school. Select the add icon to identify the campus location to be visited. Multiple locations can be selected here. Use the drop-down menu to select type of visit. Use the drop-down menu to select category of visit. And please note, Hide Show will be activated depending on how question 6 is answered here. Question 7, Hide Show appears based on answers provided in question 6. And question 8 is select status. This is the visitor information section. The information in this section refers to the visitor's information, so keep that in mind as you answer each required question. Complete questions 1 through 7 and use the help text available as needed. The help text can be viewed by clicking on the question marks. Use add buttons and drop-down menus where required and select continue at the bottom of your screen to navigate to the next section. Visitor with research information. There are 7 Hide Show questions in this section, and those are questions 3 through 9. Complete questions 1 through 10 in this section and use the help text available as needed. Use add buttons and drop-down menus where required. Select continue at the bottom of your screen to navigate to the next section. This is the supporting documents section. Use the add icon to attach any necessary supporting documents. And please note, if no supporting documents are attached, then you will be required to fill out question 2. Multiple document types are supported in this platform. Select the question marks to view help text as needed. Please be sure to review all of the information that you have provided. It is very important that the responses in the submission be thorough and specific. Failure to respond to all requested items, to submit all required documents, or complete all personnel requirements will result in a delay in the review of this submission and may result in the submission being returned to the responsible party for correction or completion. Please note that after you select Finish at the bottom of your Export Control workspace, the form has not yet been submitted for review. Upon completing the information in the submission and clicking the Finish button below, the responsible party must also execute the appropriate activity from the workspace to forward this for review, and we will cover that in the next slide. From your workspace, you can see that your Export Control request is in the pre-submission state. Select the Submit icon to the left of your workspace, found right here. A pop-up window will open for you to answer a few additional questions. Answer all required questions, then scroll to the bottom and select OK. Take note that your request is now in pre-review state. After submitting your request, it will be routed to the appropriate Office of Export Control, or OEC for short, reviewer. At this point, the OEC reviewer will determine if a clarification request is needed, if additional reviewers need to be assigned, if an ancillary review needs to happen, or they can continue routing the request through workflow. If no additional information is requested by the OEC reviewer, the request will route for Export Control review approval. An illustration of the workflow status is shown on the right. Once the Export Control review has been approved, the request will move to the review complete state. So we can see that now it has a date approved listed here in your workspace. It says approved. It indicates review completed. Here we have a visual representation of workflow in Export Control. The campus chooser located in the basic information section of the SmartForm determines who the reviewer will be. So again, every single request type has the same basic information questions. So question 4 is the select campus option, and this determines who the OEC reviewer will be. From your workspace, you can manage guest list, add a comment, manage related submissions, or manage ancillary reviews. And those are all found right here to the left of your workspace. For demonstration purposes, we will add an ancillary review to our export control request. Click on the Manage Ancillary Reviews option on the left side of your workspace, right there. We saw it in that previous slide. Select the Add icon to identify each person who should provide an ancillary review. Another pop-up window will open. And please note that UT is only using the person identifier dropdown. So we are not using the organization dropdown. We are only using the person dropdown menu. Select the review type and then answer required questions. Select OK at the bottom to record your responses and move to the next section. This is a visual representation of the ancillary review workflow in export control. The following actions will trigger additional actions in export control. So pre-submission will trigger an action, pre-review, if a clarification is requested. All of these things will trigger an additional action in export control. Here we have a list of the delivered notifications in export control. Here we have an example of a delivered notification in export control. So if you've submitted a request type and an OEC reviewer has requested a clarification, you will receive a notification that looks very similar to this. And the same here. If you've moved to the export control review state, you will receive a notification that looks very similar to this one. To find additional resources available for export control, please visit Dash Research SharePoint site for any current activities happening, timeline, additional resources, or anything that you might need regarding export control. This is just some key terminology for users to view as they learn how to navigate the new platform.